Hello, it's Rosie at Rose Bandenko. Thank you for coming by. I wanted to show you today 3 more journals that I recently completed and that are in my Etsy shop. I enjoyed making these for sure. One is tea rooms. One is best in books. And the smallest one is delivered, number 28. So let me show you the smallest one first. This one was the last one that I completed in just recently, and this is the way I did the closure on this one. I sewn on a strip on the back, and then I brought it front, and I put some eyelets in there, and this hemp string, and this is the closure. So I really enjoy that. And I'm making a couple more of that kind. On the side, on the spine, I put 3 buttons for decoration, and I've sewn in 4 signatures. There are 4 signatures. The size of this is about 4.5 by 5 3/4 inches, and there's about 80 pages, and it's 1 1/4 inch on the spine. So let's check this one inside. And this is an authentic photo that I put here, and I used my little teeny tiny Croatian red brads that I picked up last time, and this beautiful sepia photo here of well, maybe a pier. I do see some houses over here and maybe some rocks here, but beautiful water scene. And the fabric here is also one of the thick upholstery fabrics, but I just love the decoration or the design on these, sort of looking vintage for me anyways, especially in these colors, black and brown. And on the inside, it's mostly either you can look at it this way or this way, whichever way you prefer. So I do have a lot of authentic ephemera here. This is a little postcard back from the day. I'm not sure of the year, but it does show, well, it does show actually, copyright 1905. So anyways, let's see what I have forgotten. Well, to write. So don't forget to write, I guess. In this journal, there are spots where you can write as well. And this is a photo on a nice sunny afternoon. It looks like a couple of ladies, maybe sisters, by the window, by their house. And here's the number 28, so I use that. And here, a little bit of eyelash trim there, and a few things. This is from a small book that I have, and it does have little wordings about flowers and names, and this is a bouquet. It's just beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful enough to put a little frame on it. This is vintage from a book, and a little bit of paper to write on. So I enjoyed trying to, well, I guess sort these items so that they fit this size journal on these pages. So I do have pages for writing as well. And then this is just a little strip that you can add somewhere. And here we have from a vintage book. Looks like a beautiful maybe breakfast setting. By the window there, and a nice warm fireplace. And yeah, I could use a fireplace right now. We did go through quite a bit of the wind and rain, and we had no power for almost 2 days, and now it's chilly. So it was warm during that storm, but now it's chilly again, and I could use the fireplace. So we were lucky that actually outside it was not so bad as far as the temperatures. This is from a vintage book, actually a magazine that I have on the royalties. And so that we weren't freezing or anything at all. But now it's chillier than it was. And beautiful leaves and some information about the leaves and the trees they come from. So each one where you see a little divot here has something in it that you can use throughout the journal. And this one is from that magazine also, about some coins. This is from a Victorian book. A little tag here with collage. A little bit more here as well. And a bit of sari fabric. And kisses, sending you kisses. And Hershey kisses. And inside here you have a couple of things. Journal tag and some paper as well to write on. This is from a country music book. A little bit of a vintage playing card and a tiny vintage postcard. So a couple of pockets in here. A little bit of an add-on to this vintage page, and some samples I had leftover fabric and ribbon. And I love the green. Green. But of course no green right now. We have to wait for green until next year. And it's almost Christmas now. By the way, I wanted to wish everybody happy Christmas season and New Year. Hopefully your New Year will be bright as well. Painting here, and this is from a vintage book, Getting Measured. Oh, there's something in here. Book page. This is, they're stickers, and you can peel them off. It says excellent. And you can put them somewhere else. More about the coins. And here a little bit to write on as well. Collage page there. This is from patterns. Sewing patterns. And oh, the sun's coming out again. And again, it was overcast for now. And the sun is trying to peek through. So 4 small signatures in this one, as I mentioned. This is also from that Royal magazine that's very old. And a little bit from, I think this is from a mathematics book. A math book. I guess you can use, you know, when the kids learn to use their fingers at first to do their math. Roman numerals. Does it say actually? No, it doesn't show. Oh, I see. This is the numeral, right? Ah, these are the numerals. I see now. Yeah, this is number 10. That's 5. I know that much. Oh, Lordy. And let's see what else have we got here. Oh, here's a beautiful photo with, even though it's in black and white, you can really tell the reflection in this lake. Just gorgeous. I hope you can see that. And a bit more of the green. A little fabric sample. This beautiful lilac color. Writer. And here as well is these are old book pages, parts where you can read in the back, and in the front you can also write. Let's see if we can get it back in here. There we go. I left this one empty so you can put something of your own. And it has this sari fabric, little parsley seed pocket, and I wanted to use them up because I like them. A lot of them are very pretty or decorative or green, which is fine with me. So this is something that I stamped up once upon a time, and I thought, okay, time to put it somewhere. And almost done with this one. This beautiful grandfather clock here, and a little bit of a vintage scene from also from a book. Now this is, wait a minute, I think I missed a page here. Stone faces. And this one has more space to write, but also a bit of fabric with that embroidery that I have. And then here are a couple of things. You are in charge, journaling card. Something about fishes. And these are strange looking fishes, like, I'm not sure. Broad-nosed pipefish. And then beautiful, well, Philopetrix, or seahorse, maybe. And postcard here. Also a nice water scene. It looks like there are stairs over here, if you can see, to go down to the beach. And you can always write in the back, really, if you want to. So this is number 28. Small, sort of like a mini photo album size. And you can always add more, and this will hold it down. So that's one. Then we have Best in Books, and this one has a tassel here with various beads, and down here a button and a bead. And on the spine, I did reinforce the spine, so I put fabric on it and carton underneath, because sometimes the spine is either very, very thin, or it's just, broken, unfortunately. But I saved the covers. This is just a cotton closure, but it doesn't need a closure, really. It just sits nicely. And I love the blues on this book. The blues and the gray really go well together. So it does say best. So we have beautiful illustrations on here as well. And in the back also. Lassie Come Home. One of those books that we all kind of grew up with, maybe. And this is on the inside, and let's see what it might have inside. So this has its original inside cover here, the illustration here. And the size of this one is 5.5 by 8.5 inches. Spine is 1.5 inches. There are 2 signatures and about 96 pages. So I did do a lot of my inserts that I like to do in this pocket, and then also strips that you can, put anywhere else in the journal. And there are printed and authentic ephemera. Bit of sari silk there. Decoration. And this is antique linen. Also in beautiful blue that I found. And it fit just so perfectly in this journal. Half and half, half here and then half in the next section. And this is an authentic map beautiful paper on this one. And then I also included the blue, because I also have blue. I have yellow, mustard yellow, and I have blue fabric with this embroidery on it. And this is just a paper collage, a bit from another book. Looking at different cultures. I love looking at buildings, first of all, architecture, and also different cultures of, you know, what people do and what people wear, and what kind of dancing do they do, and so on. Just little wordings here and there. And this is from a vintage book, very old. This is from a French book. And I included some wallpaper sample. It does actually a vintage as well. And I put in a couple of pages, one to write on, one to look at, and a little bit of fabric as well. Beautiful flowers. And bridges. And here I attached this page with fabric as well. Beautiful bridge here. And maybe how they sketch the bridges at first to decide what they're going to do. This is a very fragile piece of paper from a vintage book, and so some of the pages maybe you just have to be a little bit more careful, but not too much. And there's a tree here, and collage tag in here as well. And this is, of course, from the Edith Holden books, November, which is just past, of course. Oh, look at the moon, just beautiful. A little poem in the rain, and also blue siding here. I attached this vintage Christmas card. Well, it's actually for New Year, January 1st, which is coming up. So quite fittingly in here, and then beautiful writing in the back. And one of my digital collages. And in here, in this pocket, are some actual size mushrooms. So these are larger ones than those other ones that I showed you last time. That said actual size, which were teeny tiny ones. And put that in there. And here's a vintage lady. I just thought I would make her into one of those dolls. So I backed up with a little bit of cardstock there. And, well, maybe you find some other, another colored raincoat or something else for her to wear. But she is from a vintage sewing magazine. And then this is a repair card. I did ink it up. It is a new card, but it looks quite vintage, I think, with the inking. Looks pretty good. So you can write on that as well. And then here, also, from a vintage book of home decorations. So this one shows like window coverings and different things. And this is also from a book so that you can write on it inside. So lots of fabrics and ribbons. Another postcard here. And a little bit more of a story. I love the goats here. I love the goats there. And October. Yeah, a little bit of a bead there as well. Flips a little bit, and then I have a printout that I made on graph paper, and I printed on the back as well. And so there we go, Roman numerals. And I just put some, you know, thread that I had left over and a bit of a writing spot there. And as well, you can write here and on the side. This is actually parchment paper. Eddie came home with a telegraph pole. Okay. vocabulary, just a couple of small things here. And I did a little bit of slow stitching here and there. And beautiful butterflies. This is one of those very vintage index cards that I have from a book here. And a little bit of a village scene. And a whole page here to write on, but it is the back of the map, so that you have the space, and it's still vintage paper. And this is just a little bit of beads on here. So this is the other side of that beautiful linen doily. And so this is in the middle. It's a second signature. And here I have also embroidered very beautifully this piece of linen from a tablecloth, I believe, with these very pretty flowers. Also from a book. And I did try to strengthen some of the edges of these vintage pages by putting a little bit more on there. And this is Forest Fantasy. This is from the friendship book that I got recently. And on the back you can write. And it's got this beautiful tree. Forest Fantasy, that is for sure. So just put that in there. And in this pocket, one of those tiny postcards. And it tells you in the back, usually Milano, Italy, this one, or Milan. Yeah, a beautiful building with sculptures and a bit of a coffee dyed yellow. It was initially quite yellow. Index card. And then this is from that Royal magazine. A beautiful depiction, illustration with the crown. With the crown in the middle. The Royal Line of Accession. Queen Elizabeth II. So it's got some names, I guess, of the different kings and queens. And in the back is the Honors of Scotland. This is also very beautiful, too. Beautiful lady here looking through the window. And just the font on this. Sorry. The font on this very beautiful also. In there, Birds of North America page, a little bit of a poem sometimes. Love the colors here. Looks like a little bit of fairies there. And another postcard here, more of a humorous postcard. She's pulling on her husband's ear. What did he do? A little button here. Vintage postage stamps about bells, and I also attached it with fabric here. And then what the bell parts are. Waist, shoulder, and so on. A little bit of slow stitch on this card that I attached here. Vocabulary. And another postcard with the fabric and the beautiful writing here. And this one is, well, somewhere a little bit more tropical. And yes, I could use that right about now. Somewhere a little bit more tropical. In Search of Ireland, this one. And then a pocket here with a little bit of upholstery fabric sample. Eyelash trim here and some stamping and a beautiful spot to write. And this one is from the Ireland book. And beautiful sepia colored landscape scene. And also blank in the back, so also excellent for writing as well. Some tickets and a gentleman there. And another postcard here. So lots of postcards in this journal. And I love looking at them. I love the overall color of this city view. and something about the tallest trees and characteristics of the big trees. Look at the roots on that. My goodness. And here's a bingo card, and this is fabric here. And this one I printed of an old home. And this is authentic bell. A little bit more of a story. And here too, Book of Plant Life. And this one I did a little bit more. You can write in the back. I love the color. And a couple more tickets here. This is quite old paper, so those are the ones that I backed up a little bit. A little bit more from that tablecloth of embroidery there. And in this pocket, a photo of a house that I printed, just because I love looking at old houses, as I mentioned before. And then this is just a piece of a very, very old book, and you can feel the font. And it's something like a journaling card that you can write on. I printed on one of those double photos. I think they have a name, but I forget. And of the old-fashioned, I guess you look through something and the viewfinder, and I guess then you see one image. So something, that was taken a long time ago. And then here a bit of a fabric that's actually in the colors very close, and my logo here. And so that's Best in Books, and that's at the shop. And next one is the tea rooms. And the tea rooms, of course, is my tea journal. It also has 2 signatures, 96 pages. Spine is about 1.25 inches, and it's a 6x9 book, so it's one of the larger ones. And then it has this tassel with some different beads here, some sparkly ones, and beads down here, and some sparkly over here as well from a sari scarf. So that's the tassel. And then the closure here is also from a sari, the actual silk from a sari scarf. Okay. And here I have a tea leaf on top of this vintage ribbons and lace here, and some just fuzzies, really, fuzzies that I pulled off of somewhere, and some thread. And I just put it up here also, just for a little bit more texture. And, sorry, I'm probably being too close. And here is the Tea Rooms book that I printed, and then I put in some pages in there to write on. And here's a tea card about butterflies, vintage book page, French literature, and then a bit of paper to write, and some vintage lace. And here as well, have a birdie here, tea card. So you can go to the tea room and, have your tea and maybe some snacks or pastries would be good. And over here is the fabric that I have. It's got a teapot over here and teacups. And then I put a little bit of a button here and more lace here, and this tiny postage stamp of a teapot. So I thought that needs to go on there. And then in the back, I also have a pocket. And here we have different set teacups and a creamer and so on. And then Lipton's tea that I printed, I put a bit of slow stitch in this one. It's just journaling cards that you can write on. They're printed on beige paper. And this is a vintage, one of those cards, you know, from a magazine. And this one happened to say tea time on it. So that goes in here. And lots of things in the middle and throughout the book. So I used a hardcover from another book. It didn't have any design, so I put my own cover on it. And here we have a little bit of a charm as well. And then To Greet You, a beautiful vintage postcard with writing and a beautiful tea rose. Should we call her a tea rose? And a teacup. You can drink out of it. No, not quite. But into this round pocket, because I have these round doilies that are halves. And if you cut them in half in the backing, because this part is off, see, and the backing makes one full circle, but I cut it out so that I can use each of the halves. And then this is from the original book, and it's got some writing on it and dates, 1946. Maybe when the book was, you know, lent out from the library. I have more of this that I put on the spine. Embroidered tablecloth here. Beautiful also to go with this blue here, and a couple of index cards to write on. Bit of a button there. And just from a tea from Tim Hortons, Canadian Tim Hortons. And peppermint. I always have peppermint tea there. And a little bit of a tea set over here. Very pretty. With some ribbon. And let me see here. This is from a crochet book. And this is from a book that I have also about home decor and table settings and so on. So this is the 5 o'clock tea tray. And you have your tea there and beautiful tea settings. And here as well. And here, there's a family who is getting ready for their tea. And I just put a little bit collage there. And this is from a book. And I've got some fabric on top over here. And some lace over here. Vintage lace. Beads with this teapot that I printed. Now, I use this one because it says Hawthorn tea. I like Hawthorn tea. And here's a couple of ladies, and they're trying to have their tea. And maybe they're trying to read the tea leaves on that one. Then this is on parchment paper, a teacup, and some fabric collage on the tag. And this is authentic, an invitation. Let's just say it's for tea. It's not quite for tea, I don't believe so. But let's say it was for tea. And it's parchment paper inside here. And it even has this beautiful ribbon that holds it all together. So this is a vintage invitation to the tea room. And a bit of a button here. From a vintage date book. Here I added some linen, maybe, that could be used on a tablecloth to have your tea. Maybe even outside, who knows? Outside in the garden. A little bit to write on, and also a beautiful tree here. And a vintage card with flowers, with some writing. Vintage postage stamps. And this is in the middle. Here I have a lady, and she's about to have her tea. A little bit more of a writing spot there. and some sari silk. And here I have Mother's Day tea. This is an actual newspaper clipping that I kept from where I used to live. And it was called the Bovaird House, and you could go there. I always wanted to go and never ended up. Maybe still one day, who knows. And on the back it's got the actor from Young and the Restless. And next, let's see, what else do we have here? More stamps. And that's from the card. And this old tape that was there. A little bit more of the fabric. And this is from the Vintage Date Book, and that has those beautiful paintings. And this is a little tea party. Looks like a kitty cat has joined them as well, with his tiny dishes here. And a postcard here. Well, I wouldn't mind having tea there with this view. And I added this, but also to go with the little bit of blue. And also you might see those birds while you're sitting there having your tea. And here's some fabric and some lace here in the back. Ribbon. These ladies are going to have their tea. Library readings. Oh, maybe they're having, maybe they're at the library. And listening to the readings of an author. Nathaniel Hawthorne, having Hawthorne tea, and she has tea as well, and also some vintage papers and coffee stain papers that are just put together with a tiny red brad, so you can take it apart if you wish. And I thought I would just put it into this pocket that I stenciled up a bit. More of the teapot, and you could put something in there maybe. And here also, well, these are clocks because it's tea time, right? But also some teapots down here and here as well. Pottery teapot. And I'm not sure, 50s kitchen, 40s, or even 30s. And anyway, she's, maybe she's making a cake, it looks like. And maybe she'll have tea to go with that. Beautiful colors. And this one, that's from the other side there. And this one is a tea that I put a little bit of stitching on there. And a teacup here. And then this one has Kitty's tea and I will call you. That's just a vintage message that was alongside some postcards that I got. And just put it in there. And in the middle, I included this beautiful, not a hanky, but I think it's open here. So I believe that you can put a small pillow in there, or maybe ephemera if you want to, or tea, maybe tea bags, however you want to use it. But anyways, here is the beautiful embroidery in between there. Maybe you can't see it, but I thought I would just include it because it seemed to be just the right size. And you can use it to put your teacup on as well. And let me see, anything in here? Yeah, a little bit of a vintage index card. And here's some teacups and settings, plate settings from a crochet book. And a little bit of a tag here. And parchment paper. Cup in a cup. Actually, they look like they're maybe like, set up on top of each other, stacked. From a book page. And here too is a tea set. And I love looking around the rooms also to see what else they have. Some photos. And they have that nice fireplace insert and nice table skirt. Maybe it's pink. Just a little bit of a sample there. And also plain china, it says. Some table settings here as well. The breakfast tray and so on. Oh, we're going to have tea right here, it looks like. And this lady's having tea. Back of my photos. So I have lots of like little samples of maybe tablecloths or something that you might use for tea. Here's another little cup. Fabric here. Here's Mr. Hawthorne again. Brewing, you know, his next batch of Hawthorne tea for sale. And here I found some biscuits or Golden Harvest cookies, it says. So this is a recipe from one of those little booklets, vintage booklets, and I think these would go perfectly with a tea. I might make a copy of that for myself and see if I try it out one day. And a little bit more from Sari scarf, and this golden, let me see if it, okay, golden string that I have, and a beautiful set here in black and white. Goes nicely with this yellow here. And in the middle of the second signature, this is a printout I made. Take tea and see. Beautiful tea being poured. I guess it makes you strong. I don't know. Does tea make you strong? And over here as well. Here we have index card and a lady. She's got, no, I think that's fruit. I thought maybe she has some cookies here, but it looks like maybe pears along with her teapot. You can write in the back, of course. Well, here's a stacked set. Here's another postcard. I wouldn't mind having tea here as well. In the mountains, it looks like, and there's greenery, a bit of a river, and maybe a, you know, tea house where the tea rooms are. Go check it out there. And this couple is having tea. Beautiful collaging here with the writing spot. More here. And this lady's also having tea. And this is to match her scarf. And beautiful book page. And coffee staining. Coffee staining, sometimes I put some drops of red food coloring in there to give me a little bit of a pink tint. This is something I printed. It is a large page, and it's got some more in the back as well, and spaces for writing. And it's beautiful lady in her tea dress, I suppose, pouring the tea. Another button here. A little bit more of the kitchen where you might store your teacups or have tea in. And here's a pocket that you can put something in. A little bit more fabric there. And this just kind of, this is in French. It says de chocolat, so maybe a cup of hot chocolate, or tea, right? Could be tea as well. So it just kind of goes on top of the page and holds it there. In this crochet page, and here is tea setting. This beautiful lace here. And ribbon here that I have. A bit more of this vintage one here. And then a tea party in a vintage index card. That card has some questions on it. Maybe you want to put your pertinent current information in there. Who knows? And then this is the back side with that tablecloth. It's just in the back, and journal tag here and over here as well with this beautiful, it's a bright and happy Easter. Beautiful card with little violets on it. And here's a little pocket that you can put something in. And there's a tea leaf here as well. And some more ribbon. So this is tea rooms for the tea lovers who might want to, record their tea days in this journal. So I have that one, this one, and this one that we looked at today. Happy holidays, everyone. I hope you have a good holiday season, and the best of luck to you in the new 2024 year. So see you then. Take care. It's Rosie at Rose Panenko. Bye-bye.